right.
All right. Welcome, everybody. If you haven't already, just make sure your name and your service number is in the chat box. It looks like we have a big group tonight. I just need you to scroll. Thank you. Just a quick couple of Zoom meeting etiquettes. We have everybody muted. If you have questions, please use the chat box. We will try and keep up with them as we're going along, but at the end we'll also have some question and answers where we can open up mics and let everybody talk. And just so you know, we are recording the meeting. We're recording it so that we can send it out to everybody, anybody who's here and wants to reference it again, or at anybody who wasn't able to show up to make it tonight. So if you don't know me, I'm Gail Harris. I'm the product program specialist. I just started back in March. This is my first round of cookie training and cookie booth training. And we have Rebecca with us, back from maternity leave last week. And we are excited to have her and baby Mason back with us. Just a quick rundown of our agenda. We have Anne from ABC Bakers here with us. I'll introduce her in a minute. We're just going to go through some information about this year's cookie program, some of your responsibilities, the different types of cookie booths that we have for this year, information about scheduling and assigning those cookie booths, some money matters, and some really important guidelines and safety tips. We'll go over disciplinary actions for any problems with those cookie booths, some new features in Smart Cookies, contests, online resources, and then at the end, the questions and answers. So start off, I'm going to welcome Anne. She's from ABC Bakers. She replaced Kathy, who retired back in August. And Anne has a lot of experience with Girl Scouts and years with ABC Bakers, and we're really happy to have her with us.
Thanks, Gail. So my name is Ann Lausier. I'm with ABC Bakers, and while I talk to you a little bit about myself, I'm going to have you go to Slido. If you grab your phone, if you're not on your phone, and go to slido.com. We're going to do a couple Be Amazing icebreakers, and when you get to that website, they'll ask you to enter a code, and if you enter 62159, that will allow you to answer some of our fun questions tonight. So I am really excited to be working with Girl Scouts of Central and Southern New Jersey. I actually visited your council my first month or so that I worked for ABC 14 years ago. I met Angela at that time. So I've known your council folks, and I'm really excited that I was able to take over for Kathy. We all miss her, but she left me tons of notes, and we're excited to make a really good sale. So let's start with a couple of fun little questions. If we pop up our first question, is how many bees can live in a single hive? And so when you get there, you'll be able to type in your answers, and we'll wait a few seconds and get some answers in. I got some already. We got 1 million, 10,000, 100,000, 80,000. So lots of great answers. And so just so you know that a total of, up to 80,000 bees can live in a single hive. So I see we had a couple 80,000 answers. I'm thinking some of those may have been on our training earlier or last week, but that's great that you remembered how many bees. Our second question has to do with space. So what year did the space shuttle carry a box with 3,000 bees into space? And we got some answers: 1978, 2004, 1984, 1990, so lots of great answers, and the year actually was 1984. I believe that should come up next. And yes, somebody asked me in the chat on the last time, did the bees survive? Yes, the bees survived. So I'm not sure what they were studying with the bees, but that was pretty cool. And then our last question is, how many flowers must a honeybee tap to make a pound of honey? And we're getting some answers: 1 million, 2,000, 1 million, 500 million, thousands. So that's right, it does take a lot of flowers, and a bee must tap 2 million flowers to come up a pound of honey. So our bees are very busy people. They're just like Girl Scout councils, volunteers. They work really, really hard. And we really want to tell you how much we appreciate all of you. So to give you a little bit of background on ABC, we are part of Weston Foods, and we're the largest, one of the largest baking conglomerates in the North America. We have over 45 bakeries across North America. That's Canada and the US. We've been doing this for 138 years, and we have more than 2 billion in sales. So if you eat it, we've probably baked it at some point in your life. You've had a Weston food product. We're what they call a baker's baker. We bake for other people. Often we do the store brands for bread that you get at your store bakery. They buy it frozen from us. They bake it in stores. We do donuts, cakes, pies, cookies, ice cream wafers, all kinds of great stuff, because we know that we're elevating everyday moments, those little celebrations every day, those little treats that we give ourselves. We're very involved in that. And so we keep good company. As I said, we're a Girl Scout baker. We bake for Girl Scouts, but we bake for a lot of other people, and that's what makes us a baker's baker. You really don't see the Weston brand out there. We bake for you. And we have categories within our company, and we're in the cookie category, and within the cookie category, Girl Scouts is our #1 customer. So you're super important to us. We want to make sure that we have what you need when you need it. And you can see that we're in good company, because we do just have a lot of other name brands, everything from Starbucks to Nestle to Walmart, we bake for. So coming up this year, we do have America's Best Cookies. You see a little hint about the new cookie, the Toastier, which we'll talk about in just a couple of minutes, but our line stays the same with that one exception, all the great flavors that we have, including our caramel-free chocolate chip, gluten-free chocolate chip. Some fun cookie facts: we do bake a lot of cookies. We bake more than 5 million Thin Mints in a single day, and that, if you line them all up, it would cover 450 miles of cookies. And when we're making Caramel Delights, it takes about an hour to bake from the start of the dough to the final package. And we use 1.5 million pounds of caramel for Caramel Delights during a season, which is enough to fill 11 swimming pools. And we use more than 600,000 pounds of flour a week. We literally get in flour by the truckload. We have lots of helpful features for consumers. We have 5 times more vegan cookies than our competitors, so that gives a great choice for your consumers, including our new Toastier is a vegan cookie. And then our caramel chocolate chip is baked in a gluten-free bakery, which also is peanut and soy-free. So for people who have the allergies, not only to gluten, but also are looking for a peanut and soy-free facility, that cookie fills the bill. And we really believe that we're the strongest baker partner for Girl Scouts. We have more than 8 decades of experience, so we really want to help you sustain your program, grow your program, so we help girls to make the world a better place. And we feel like through you, we're helping to do that, and we're excited to be part of the Girl Scouts of Central and Southern New Jersey. And I mentioned we did have a new cookie called Toastier. It is a mapley flavored cookie, kind of maple cinnamon with a maple icing on the bottom. It's absolutely delicious. It's shaped like a little piece of toast with the Girl Scout trefoil baked into it. And so really exciting offering to support the Thanks a Lot that was retired last year. And we'll have lots of fun posts to celebrate your yay. Our graphics are already up. Even though you're not into Smart Cookies, you're not registered in Smart Cookies yet, you can go into Smart Cookies now, click on the resources tab and get to our Flickr page, and we'll have social media posts that you can celebrate the new cookie. We'll have a lot of fun graphics that you'll be able to use. And we do have a couple of season packaging updates. Last year we had the voluntary allergen warning on our product said manufactured, or said may contains, and some folks that caused some confusion. People thought maybe the recipes had changed in one day. So The voluntary allergen statement has been updated. We removed the may contains and replaced it with the manufactured in a shared facility with, and then the allergens that are in that facility are listed. Both statements mean the same thing, but I think it's a little clearer for people to understand that the recipes did not change in any way. We also removed high fructose corn syrup from the remaining 4 cookies. So now our entire line is high fructose corn syrup free. So that's a really exciting thing. And then on the gluten-free packaging, the certification logo will look a little different. The certification has not changed, the recipe has not changed, but the logo from the gluten-free group that certifies cookies, they wanted to brand their market internationally, and so they just changed their logo slightly, but it's the same recipe and same certification. And then the last little piece that I have from ABC Bakers is saying that s'mores will be headed to the mountains in 2022. This is a decision from GSUSA as they manage their product line. S'mores, were very popular at first and they continued to decline. And so there will be a new cookie in the 2022 sale. So have your customers stock up now, eat them and freeze them so that they can have s'mores for the remainder of the year.
All right. Thank you so much, Anne. So we're, like Gail said, we are super duper excited to have Anne with us. She has a ton of Girl Scout experience, has been with ABC a long time. So we're very fortunate, and we can't wait to work with her. And we'll talk about some other benefits in a few other slides that she has to give us that specifically go with the cookie booth coordinator position. So no, thanks a lots aren't coming back, unfortunately. And I believe this is the last year for Little Brownie to also have their s'mores. I believe both councils will have a cookie.
I think that GSUSA made the decision to allow them to leave their s'mores in for one more year after, for 2022, because they don't have the same number of cookies that we have in the line. And so with GSUSA trying to keep everything more equal, I think the decision, the last I heard, they would be allowed to keep that. Then that way both bakers would have a total of 9 cookies with their gluten-free.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying, because a few people had asked and I thought that was the case, but guess not. All right, ours were better.
It could always change.
Ours were better anyway. Okay, so the 2020 cookie program, 2021, excuse me. As you can see, the Busy Bee is the 2021 theme. Be amazing, lots of vibrant colors, black, yellow, oranges. So super exciting about that. Here's just a few important dates just to keep on your radar. We sent out some reminders today. Gluten-free orders are due October 23rd. That's a firm order. We may not have extra. Troops cannot get extra on a truck or warehouse. So if they want them, they've got to put the order in now. Troop initial orders are due December 11th. Service units will have a few extra days, I believe, until the 13th to help troops with that. And then once everybody's locked out, council adds in the gluten-free order. So troops won't place the order now and then do it again. We enter that in afterwards. Initial order deliveries are January 6th through 13th. The program begins Thursday, January 14th. We're planning on we're planning on our normal direct sale program. National Cookie Weekend is February 19th through 21st. There's also a huge national cookie link launch that GSUSA is doing. We have a little bit of information about that, but a lot more will be coming down the pipeline. That begins February 19th. And if you can see, we're ending the program March 28th, which is a few weeks later than normal, because we wanted our troops to have the opportunity, should they choose, to capitalize on this national cookie link promotion. So there'll be more details about that national cookie link soon. Okay, So service unit responsibilities. As a service unit booth coordinator, many of you have been here and have done it before, but if you're new, this could be some new information for you. You want to be in the know. You want to make sure you download our GSCSNJ Cookies team app. That's where our department can immediately, we put contacts with everybody. There's chat rooms. When there's issues with trucks, warehouses, whatever, we send it out and it gets to you right away. If you don't download the app, you don't have to. You can just go to the website and that'll also be in the guides. But if you go to the website, sign up and click for notifications, you can either do text notifications or email notifications. And anytime we do a news announcement, that would get sent to you. So you don't have to have the app to access it. You can still do it through a computer or internet site. You want to make sure you read the service unit booth coordinator guidebooks and the troop cookie manager guidebooks. Those we are finishing up. They may still be a few weeks out, but with everything fluid with COVID, we didn't want to rush them. So those will be coming out soon. And as soon as we have them, we'll be emailing you electronic copies. Stay informed, obviously, again, regarding GSCSNJ COVID-19 updates. I'm sure between us and council and your service unit managers, you know, you'll be hearing more about that as things could change. Be a troop liaison. So you're the first point of contact for your troops, Juliet's, regarding cookie booths. So we want them to contact you first, just like I'm sure you want them to. So that's something you want to make sure you communicate with your troop leaders and your troop cookie managers to know that come to you first regarding cookie booths before they go to council, because you know everything it is to know about the booths in your area. We don't. Be proficient in smart cookies, which many of you are, which is awesome. And then communicate. Keep the council, other service unit cookie managers and coordinators and troops in the know as well. The role of the cookie booth service unit coordinator is to essentially find locations where troops can hold booth sales in your service unit area, contact them, confirm locations, dates, and times that they're willing to let troops go there. Train troops and Juliet's about booth sale etiquette and safety guidelines, which will be in the guidebooks. Support troops and Juliet's throughout the cookie program with booth opportunities and assign booths in a fair manner. Again, serve as a liaison between local businesses and Girl Scouts. So we want you to be that point person for your local businesses. The reason Girl Scouts has this coordinator position is because businesses, as you probably know, don't want a million troops coming and asking them for a booth location. So it's worked over the past many, many years to have one point person go and be that person for the business. So we're not driving them crazy. And then serve as a liaison between troops and council, resolve conflicts, and enforce consequences if necessary. Resolving conflict, you know, in the event that troops find themselves in conflict with others over a cookie booth, it does happen occasionally. And we ask that, you know, again, they should have your information, your cookie manager's information, that you're their primary contact first. You know, remind them to stay calm. Unfortunately, we've had situations where parents and leaders can fight and get upset and get inappropriate at a store in front of girls. So you want to definitely remind your troops, if something happens, if another troop comes, stay calm, contact you, let's figure it out. Determine, you know, all the parties involved, and then honestly, depending on the situation, make sure you know your service unit manager's information if you need to get in touch with them. Definitely remind troops to limit the involvement of the store manager. They don't keep the schedule, you do. So when parents go and get the store manager and make a big scene, that's never good. Usually we lose a location when that happens. So, you know, remind your troops to also remind their parents who are going that they, you know, these issues and pieces, and to not involve the store manager unless necessary. And then strive for a quick and peaceful resolution. So there's different types of cookie booths. You know, obviously, the most current COVID guidelines we have on our website that I believe it was a week or so ago in October, that will talk about GSCSNJ policies regarding, you know, in-person meetings, outside meetings, booth sales. Right now, you know, as of right now, we're saying that all cookie booths that are allowed should be set up in an outside location. We know that some of you have great indoor locations, but depending on the specific COVID status, those may not be allowed. But thinking outside the box for outside locations, you know, there's a whole list of places that some people really forget that you can ask. It doesn't have to be your mom and pop bagel store or the council locations. You know, think of things where people are at and then try to set them up there. Council sponsored cookie booths and the national cookie booth. So basically right now, due to COVID, definitely Joann Fabrics and Walmart Dunkin' Donuts and Walmart are on hold. Basically, it's a no right now. They don't even know if they're going to allow it in January. GSUSA is keeping us posted, but they're not allowing any solicitors. Joann Fabrics is pending. I know we have a few of those locations, so that's pending. There is a new agreement with GNC, the vitamin place. So we'll have more details about that, but just be aware that, you know, a lot of these national contracts and even some of our local council sponsored ones may not be allowed this year because they were typically indoor type locations, or they're not allowing for solicitation. So my team is specifically reaching out to Wawa, Boscov's, you know, ShopRite, the ones that we handle. But something that at this point you might not want to plan. Somebody said, have we heard from Wawa? Wawa in general doesn't give us an answer until January. But from what I've heard from a council that is selling, there's one council right now that does sell, and a few others that have already reached out, they've been told no. But again, she's told me no until January. So she can't make any approvals until January. So we don't know, but again, it's all going to depend on COVID and what the situation looks like. So we'll certainly keep you posted, but don't count on those locations. Like, just in your head, don't count on them. We also will reach out to Acme and Zales ShopRite. Yes, any other ShopRite other than Zales is not a council location. So if you have a ShopRite in your area and it's not run by Zales, you can reach out to them. Yeah, so Zales and Acme, we're still in the process of reaching out. So because we're not sure of a lot of these locations and many indoor locations and just the status of COVID, what we are recommending and what some councils who suffered from this last spring, thankfully we were done with our sale when this happened, but there were many councils who were just starting, especially their cookie booths. They found a really high success with drive-through cookie booths. And somebody had a great idea. I think it was actually Anne, who one of her councils, they contact banks in their area because they're already set up for drive-throughs. So banks are closed on Sundays, most are, except for TD, I think. And they had a really good success having the banks let them use their drive-through areas on Sundays. But think of it like also like a community car wash when, you know, you have a high school parking lot, a church parking lot, basically any open parking lot. Kids can be on the street, you know, or close by with a sign directing them cookie booths, and you just kind of set up a drive-through area. We will have definitely more guidance on that, like a plan of how you can set it up, safety practices and things like that. We're working on putting that together. But those councils who were hit really hard last spring found that drive-through cookie booths were a huge success, and it was able to keep it very contactless. Could do credit cards, you could easily pop the trunk, put the cookies that they bought in, and keep the cars moving. Nobody had to get out. Sidewalk cookie booths are kind of similar to the pop-up booths that like a lemonade stand that a parent can do. Obviously, we're a direct sale, so troops give out cookies to their parents and girls. So that's something where a girl and her mom can do like a sidewalk sale at their home to sell their inventory. Or even if you have a connection with, you know, your township that will let you do something on a public sidewalk, that's okay. You know, any sporting events or special events that may be happening, you can ask for permission for outside booths to sell cookies at while people are coming and going. We're going to talk a little bit about social distancing and more requirements with the booths, but specifically we'll kind of get to that. Decorate your car. Put those I know people who like swear on the car magnets, and they said wherever they go, somebody asks them for cookies. Decorate your car, let people know you have cookies. And then virtual cookie booths, which is something we're really excited to promote, and more information on virtual. Okay, so as more details from this come down the pipeline, because there's a few ways you can do a virtual cookie booth, but Anne, after I kind of jump in another slide, Anne's going to talk a little bit more, and we'll have the guidelines printed and in there for you, how it works with Smart Cookies. But GSUSA, after the councils who did this, kind of created a really cool step-by-step guide that we'll send out on how to host a virtual cookie booth. And it's something along the lines of troops will be able to create a virtual troop cookie booth link in Smart Cookies. So this is an online link where they can pre-orders, like the girl delivered orders. The customer can pay with their credit card, and then they can deliver the cookies contactless to their home or to a location. So Smart Cookies set up a way for a troop to set up a troop booth sale online link, so that the cookies would go into the Smart Cookies into the troop, and then the leader could assign them out to the girls. It's not using a girls link. So you could brainstorm ideas with the girls, create a social media event on Facebook, or set up a Facebook Live to promote your event. Have the girls make it personal and fun. Explain what they're doing and why they're selling cookies, what they're saving for. Consider logistics and include details. So again, in a few slides, Anne's going to talk a little bit more how that works, and we'll also have it later as a resource for you. But essentially, you would pick a location where you have approval. Say it's your church on Saturday, and you ask your church, hey, can I use your parking lot from 1 to 2 on Saturday? Our troop's doing a virtual cookie booth. I need a safe location where I can have people come and pick up their orders. So essentially, the girls are going to set up the date, the time, and location of where the cookies can be picked up, and then they're going to promote it on social media. They're going to share their troop link. People can pre-order, and that's what you want to promote on social media is, hey, pre-order your cookies now, go to our troop link, and then you're going to come to, St. Mary's on Saturday between 1 and 2 to pick up your cookies. That way the troop will have the orders ready. So it'll be ready to go. The person can pop up. Say, obviously you're promoting it to friends and family, so this isn't going out to like the general public. So, you can say, oh, I'm here, I'm picking up my order, this is my name. You can tell them pop their trunk or open their back door, and you can put their cookies in and go. Somebody had also said to recommend that you have extra cookies on hand that day, because some people might say, oh, wait a minute, do you have an extra box of Thin Mints? Well, you can use that link for them to pay again with a credit card if you don't want to take cash, and get rid of some other on-hand inventory. And then celebrate in your success. So again, there's a really cool guide. There's a few more ways. We're really going to get into this with more details after tonight, once we put everything together, so that you can share how to do this with your troops, because it's something they would do on their own. Is there a fee to purchase cookies in the virtual cookie booth? No, it's basically like the girl link, except instead of the credit going directly to that girl, the credit would go to the troop. And then again, in a few slides, Anne can talk a little bit more about that, since it's a troop booth sale. Yeah, the troop is to get sales from the public. Exactly. The girls do already ask friends and family, but this is kind of something to consider depending on how COVID is. If we're in a situation where we can't hold any in-person booths, if you want to do something where you're doing virtual cookie booths, you can ask your friends and family to share it as well. They can share it with local people. They can share it with their friends to say, hey, can you support my niece's troop? They're having a virtual cookie booth. So we'll get into a little bit more about that. And again, if you're sharing it on Facebook, if you have 10 girls in your troop and they're all sharing it, I have like 800 friends on Facebook, and probably 600 of them live in the county I live in. So they're not all people that my daughter would have already sold to. So if you think of that times 10 girls, it would be expanding past your friends and family. Additional ways to support Girl Scouts. So these are a few other things that we're kind of working on helping you with if a business says no, because we just don't know. Some of your businesses are indoors, they're going to say no. Some may say no right now, check back with me in January. You know, everything is very fluid and up in the air because of COVID. So, you know, there's a few other ways that we can ask for support. And one of them, again, is ask the owner, depending on that location, if they could, you know, host a drive-by cookie booth, let you use their parking lot and advertise it. You know, a lot of businesses have a really good social media following. So if they're willing to let you use their parking lot, ask them to share that on their social media, that they're, you know, hosting such and such drive-through cookie booth on Saturday. And that way it would get out to more of the public. You can ask the owner of a business to sponsor a troop. Again, more details are going to come out about how you can, every troop will get, and the Smart Cookies will get a specific URL. So we're looking at creating some posters, you know, that troops can use, and then just kind of make it their own and put their URL, and ask the business, you know, maybe the business will let you alternate and put up different, they can sponsor a troop for a week and then sponsor a different troop for a week. You know, there's a lot of things we can ask these troops if they're putting up, you know, put up things in their building. I know a few at my old council, some service units had huge success with pizzerias. They gave them flyers with the URL or the little thing that you scan, and that they let them put them on the pizza boxes that went out like a whole weekend. And that was like a huge success. So that's like an idea as well, of ways that you can ask businesses, you know, print it, little postcards, ask them to put in a bag, and give to their customers to help support Girl Scouts. Create a community challenge, you know, first responders, teachers, politicians, to rally your local community, to help support Girl Scouts in your community. Again, that could be something along the lines of, if you can really schedule some great drive-through booths, depending on where you're at. We know a lot of times, depending on how big the fire department is, they allow people to do car washes and things like that. So, you know, check those areas. You know, the municipal building areas, they're usually big empty parking lots on the weekends. You know, have some type of community challenge with that. And then seek donors for cookie buyouts. So this is something we're also trying to put together, more details to come, on at least giving you some language to add, you know, a letter or something like that. We're working on it. But basically looking for people in your community who might want to buy out a troop inventory. They can keep the product or just donate it. It's just a great opportunity to highlight businesses. Obviously, if that happens, our council will be happy to highlight them, and we would also get them, you know, submit that to all of our local press just to thank them for their support. So look for more details on that to come. You know, once we have some really great language and something on our letterhead on how girls can take that to, you know, car dealerships or doctors, lawyers, dentists, things like along that nature. So just a couple, and again, I see chats coming in. We'll definitely get back to the chats in a little bit, but I want to keep going. Sharing cookie booths, obviously sharing booths with your neighboring service unit. You're encouraged, if you do have unfilled booths, to share. I know many of you already have pre-existing agreements with your area service units, and that is awesome. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. These businesses, the ones who do allow us and they're willing to go above and beyond, you know, we hate to see weekends go by. So definitely keep doing that if you're able to. Again, and the sharing of those booths should be handled between each booth sale coordinator. So we will share the coordinator email list for everybody, so you'll know who your booth coordinator is for your area service units. Again, don't let those opportunities go to waste, because we do unfortunately have some service units who have very, very, very little booth opportunities. So any ways that we can help them is always, you know, great and Girl Scout friendly. And this year, because of COVID and everybody has different restrictions and COVID guidelines, we will not be approving any booth sale opportunities outside of our council territory, which is our council blueprint. So we don't get many. I maybe get 2 or 3. And again, I only forward them to the other council for approval. Depending on it, most for Eastern PAs, we're told no because they're selling the same time we are, and we sell the same cookie. So again, it's not that big of a deal, but we're not going to be approving anything outside of our council jurisdiction just to ensure the safety of our adults and girls. Let's see. Okay, so scheduling and assigning booths. Basically, if you're new to this, you want to schedule cookie booths in 60, 90, or 120-minute intervals. Obviously, shorter time slots enable more troops to participate. The reason we kind of put that bullet in is because sometimes service units will schedule them for like 4 hours, not realizing, but you definitely don't want to go over, a 2-hour interval. And obviously if another time slot's available, that troop can decide if you want to, if they want to keep it going. But scheduling wise, so that you have enough, you keep it at that range. You complete your approval process with each site, so you don't just assume that they're going to let you. You go and ask them. We usually have a blanket letter in the back of our guide. Decide how you want to assign troops to booths, and Anne is going to talk a little bit about that in a moment on a new really cool tool that we can do in Smart Cookies, and some of you have been asking about this for a while. Provide details, instructions to the troops. So, that's basically making sure that they know of the guidelines, the etiquette, and then anything specific to that location, because your places. Some people will tell you what location to be at. They'll provide a table. So, you just want to make sure you provide that to your troops so they're prepared when they go. And then inform businesses of any cancellations or changes. You'll be surprised. We do get calls from businesses randomly throughout the sale saying, hey, I was supposed to have a troop here this weekend and nobody's here. So when that happens, we try to, we find the town, we send it over to that coordinator, but let them know, because you might have troops who are really desperate for a booth. And if there's a cancellation, you can try to get somebody else to fill that in, especially if it's a prime spot. And again, this year, family-owned businesses, troops should keep the service unit booth coordinator informed of all scheduled booth sales. So if a girl has a family-owned business and they're allowing her or her troop to sell, they should be letting you know first. They should be giving you the details, dates, the time, the location, because you want to make sure that they're not setting a booth sale up right next to maybe Dunkin' Donuts that's letting us, or maybe the bagel place that's letting you. You don't want to have two troops at the same date and time competing for the same customers. So they should be letting you know this so that you can make sure there's no issues that are going to affect all the troops involved. And then I think Anne's going to jump in a little bit and talk about Smart Cookies booth uploads, because I know that is such a sore spot for some of you, and we've always had a few issues.
So thanks, Rebecca. So I think what we were going to talk a little bit about, first of all, I saw somebody ask in the chat, yes, it's still the same process that we have within Smart Cookies. It is a Excel spreadsheet. You have to put in the names of your, the name and address and all of that of the booth, and then your times. And then you upload that into Smart Cookies. The keys are, make sure you have the information in the headings that are marked, they're usually on the spreadsheet marked in red, that those are required columns. So you have to have the name of the store, and you have to have a council level contact. But some things are optional, like notes, so you can put notes in. But one of the things I think we were talking about potentially this year is that with the age of COVID, that we could move all the scheduling and selection of booths into Smart Cookies. So as you as service unit booth coordinators would only need to secure the locations, put in the locations and the dates and times, and then allow the troops to go in and schedule their own troops, and we can reserve them for your service units. So if you've done the work and you want to have your troops go to your booths, we can reserve those booths within Smart Cookies so that no other troop can come into your area. And I think that was one of the things we were talking about, because with COVID and having to do less and less face-to-face meetings, this would be a lot less work on the part of the service unit person to have to either call people or try to have some kind of Zoom meeting to schedule booths. Did I cover that all exactly where you were thinking, Rebecca? She zipped off.
I'm here.
Sorry, I'm here. Next slide.
No.
No, I
not
think we were just
necessarily.
talking about what we were doing if we wanted to do the booth uploads. Angela, did you have anything to say?
I mean, the basic thing is that over the years, especially last year, people wanted to use, wanted to try to use the system. However, the technology wasn't available, so that if we opened it up for one service unit to use the system to do an electronic lottery format where troops can kind of like first come, first serve, whoever's in there, you pick a time, pick a date, and let it fall out the way it happens. We were always told when you open it up for one service unit, it opens it up for everyone. And there's no lines of differentiation between a troop in, Princeton picking a cookie booth in Old Bridge. The way the technology works this year is that it is available for you guys as cookie booth coordinators to use the system to do your lottery. So that, most people, of course, everybody pretty much did it outside of the system, whether it was drawing names out of a, troop numbers out of a bucket, or however you did it, everybody did some kind of different format. We wanted to open up the use of the technology. Number one, we don't know where we're going to be in December or January. Number two, you're probably not going to have any in-person meetings, period. Nothing big enough for your entire service unit to attend to do this. So we thought it would be easier to give everyone an option, to give you guys an option to use this technology and make it easier for you to place troops. Everybody knows where they are. And the other important part is, if we're going to be doing more virtual things, which we all believe we are, then troops have to be assigned to the booth in order to use credit cards. That was really the biggest thing last year. People had a spreadsheet. Maybe you waited to upload troops, then they got to their booth and, oh, I'm not assigned to the booth, or we switched, I can't use my credit card. So that's another obstacle to avoid when you do the lottery. People are assigned. When they get to the booth, they could use it, etc. So.
Yeah, I was going to kind of say that same thing, is that, and we've gotten some things on this about the spreadsheet, about supporting them, giving them more details. From what we found is if it's not exactly what we need, it'll bounce back. So there's a couple tiny little tidbits that Anne can help with, that of like common errors that come back. Sometimes people reuse the same spreadsheet, but there's multiple tabs for each week. Well, that's going to bounce it back. So it has to be like the exact spreadsheet we give you for each upload. Like you can't add tabs or decimal points or things like that. So yes, we'll definitely get you out some more tidbits and helpful tools on uploading the spreadsheet. And then
there's video available right now that they can look at if they want to see it.
There's a video, and I saw somebody asked on the chat too, is there a video on how the lottery process works? Yes, they're already on the ABC YouTube channels. We have lots and lots of councils that use this with great success. So, I find that it really, it makes it easier for everybody. It gives everybody the same opportunity. So especially if there's two different procedures in Smart Cookies. There's a lottery, and then there's a first come, first serve, and you can do either or you can do both. I will say that probably of the councils that use the boost system, which are almost all of our councils, to do their scheduling, most of them do a lottery first, which a decision is made, how many choices are we going to let the troops have so they can make, like they could pick up to 10 locations, and then they're awarded up to 2 or 3. And so the machine, the troop goes in, they would only see the locations that they were eligible for. So if it was reserved for your service unit, then the troops in your service unit would only see those booth locations. They wouldn't see the booth locations, 2 cities over. They go in, they say, well, these are the times I'm interested in, and they choose up to 10. And then the lottery just runs and randomly starts to assign them. Nobody gets something that they didn't choose. And some people get their first choice and some people get their third choice. It just, it's all random, but it's really quick, and they all get a letter of confirmation immediately. And then most councils, after they do the lottery, then they open up for first come, first serve. So then troops that want to do, more booths, they can go in, and most councils do 2 or 3 first come, first serve rounds, where maybe the first come, first serve round, they get 2 more booths. And then the second one after that, they get 2 more. So by the end of the first 3 rounds, they have the possibility to have 6 booths. And then after that, they may open it up for those, those bigger troops that may have to, have multiple locations, which could be something that, with COVID, larger troops are going to have multiple booth locations because you can't have a whole bunch of people for social distancing. So it can be done really effectively, and some of our largest councils do it with great success, and I would really encourage you to think about it.
Yeah, we definitely are getting, some tips on, we agree with opening it up. It definitely does take a lot off our plate. Some seasoned cookie booth coordinators are used to doing things their way and their in-person lottery, and we just might not have it this year. But in addition, why continue doing all of that hard work when it can totally be done electronically now? One of the reasons, another reason why we're really fortunate to have Anne is Anne's been involved in the creation of smart cookies from the beginning. So she is really a smart cookie guru and can help with this. We'll look at I know last year there was some written instructions on the upload, so
yeah,
we'll look at it again and maybe see if there's any way we can add some screenshots or something.
Yeah, we can work on something like that.
Yeah, but if you remember any of the errors that you had last year, shoot me an email and I can let Anne know, and that way she can kind of look into maybe we can make sure we add that type of troubleshooting in there. If this is an error you get, this is what's happening. So a lot of the stuff was pretty simple errors that we just needed a quick fix, and then it went right up. And then written instructions on the lottery. So yeah, we can look into that. I know some of the videos are also PowerPoint. I have to double check.
Yes, they are.
So last year I couldn't assign multiple troops to the same booth location with different time slots. Not sure about that.
What was the question?
Last year, she couldn't assign multiple troops to the same booth location with different time slots.
You should have been able to. It sounds like maybe the time slots weren't set up correctly, but certainly those kind of things can be quickly resolved. I was just looking to see if I don't have the access to the folder right now, but to see how your locations were uploaded last year, if they were identified by service unit in any way. Because if they were, we could actually even get them up, the existing locations from last year uploaded for each service unit, which would take that off their plate. All they would have to do is put the times and dates in.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we'll definitely be troubleshooting this, and we'll get you more details, videos, screenshots on the virtual lottery, the booth upload spreadsheet, to help you out. And again, as you know, I usually am answering emails, nights and weekends, and Anne's been great. So we'll definitely be working to troubleshoot this. So it says, do you have to schedule it this way, or can you still do a Zoom call lottery? You don't have to take advantage of smart cookies, but if you're going to do something virtually anyway, why not try something new? Again, this is something that big councils, much larger councils than us, do really successfully, and it's meant to make your job easier. So, maybe even if it's like a round one, type of situation, give it a try and see how it works. But I say we always want to make your jobs easier, so give it a shot. All right. And just briefly, I know, Angela kind of touched her and why upload. Obviously, it goes to the National Cookie Booth Finder. So we want to help your customers find their favorite cookies. People use this, they use it a lot. By uploading it, they can use that locator. You can share your booth on social media to your friends and family. And again, you can ask them, hey, share this. Let people know in your town that Troop such and such is going to be at this location this weekend. And you can share that link through social media. And then really most important, you can accept credit cards. So through the Smart Cookies app, which is no fees. So again, GSCSNJ is covering all of the credit card fees through Smart Cookies. So in this COVID world, you want to make sure that you can take Smart Cookies. You want to make sure you can take credit cards. And I know a few people had asked last week about scanning the credit card. So you can still scan a credit card, but it can only be through the Safari internet. So you can't do it through the actual Smart Cookies app. What you have to do is go on, if you have if you have an iPhone, because I believe iPhone owns the proprietary.
Yes.
You would go to just like you're going to look for a menu, go through Safari to abcsmartcookies.com, log in that way, and then when you're processing the order, the option to scan the credit card will work. So you don't even have to touch somebody's credit card. Also, the extra fields that people said it was a lot of work, like a whole bunch of name, address. You need to enter the name, Ann said, because it has to match the credit card.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
Right.
it, right?
Yes. Right. They don't have to put, they can put it's optional to put the email address, like if the customer wanted a receipt, but it's completely optional. All you have to do is put the information that's required to process the credit card.
Yeah, so once we knew that, it made it super fast. So you can also spread the word to your troops. It's all optional information other than their name. So somebody said Venmo or Zelle for Boost. That's, as of right now, that is not allowed. We're waiting on some guidance from GSUSA because they did reduce some things last year, but the reason we do not allow it is because these are sites that are not protected. So if somebody sends the wrong, if they put the wrong phone number in and sends the money to the wrong person, you will not get that back. It's up to that person to release that money. So that is not a approved means to share it. So we'll have more details on the approved means of money collection in our guides. Okay, so Angela's going to jump on and do a few slides.
Okay, so the cookie buyback guidelines. When we started having discussions about what 2021 will look like, overwhelmingly, we all came up with the idea that we have to plan for the worst and hope for the best, right? We need to plan for what do the worst case scenarios look like so that if it happens, we're prepared. We can kind of direct everything we're going to do. There's no surprises. If the best case scenario happens, great. We already know what to do. So in this cookie buyback, one of the things we thought of was, how do we help troops understand and be comfortable with this entire cookie ordering process, knowing that people are placing an initial order now, who knows what's going to happen by January. You know, we all watch the news now and can see, okay, there's some cases going up in hot spots of New Jersey. So just the absolute uncertainty of what will the world look like in January? And if our sale is ending in March, well, what will it look like in March? So as it stands right now, what the state of New Jersey, we're in stage 2. Stage 1 was kind of the shelter at home, don't go out unless you need to kind of thing. Stage 2, it's a little more relaxed. Stage 3, it's opened up a whole lot more in terms of what we can or cannot do in terms of meeting, in terms of group gatherings, etc. So for the timeline of January 14th through the 28th, which is our sale, if we stay in the current stage that we're in now, which is stage 2, then there will not be a cookie buyback. Why? Because the thought is that troops know this current environment and should know how to manage inventory, right? What are you going to order? How much should I get on a weekly basis? What we hope is that this is a very different year. So we are hoping that between the cookie booth coordinator, the service unit cookie manager, and SUMs, that as a team, you can help people wrap their heads around this year is very different than any other year, right? Most people are working from home. So this whole thought behind, oh, we're going to take cookies to work and sell them, just may not be there anymore. Universities are closed down. There's a lot of things that just are not happening now. And therefore, the old ways of doing things may not exist in January. So helping troops understand how they have to think about cookie planning and what they need in terms of inventory is going to look very different. As Rebecca already stated in earlier slides, our booth sales are going to look different. You know, if many people depended on, you know, Walmart or the big box stores, that may not be part of our narrative for 2021. So people need to wrap that around their heads, like, and think differently about inventory management. You know, hopefully order what you need. Don't stockpile cookies so you don't have to go back to the truck. Order what you need on a weekly basis, because on a weekly basis, things could change drastically. The second part of this slide, of this chart, is if we go into a COVID stage 1, which means that we're reverting back to what it was in like March, and we're at home and you haven't even gotten your cookie delivery yet, we're not going to deliver cookies. Why? One of the hardships that other councils faced last year, luckily for us, we were done with our sale by about the first week of March. Pretty much everybody was done. For our sister councils in the state who do order taking, they were just starting their direct portion of the sale around the end of February and March. Once they distributed all of the cookies to the troops, basically they couldn't get those cookies back. And it became very hard. Not only can they not get the cookies back, but also you still have to pay the baker, right? You know, you still have to pay the baker. So what happens to these cookies? So you're kind of losing on both ends. Some councils were successful in trying to sell bulks of their cookies of what they had in the warehouse remaining to like corporations and things. But for the councils who had already distributed the cookies, it's a loss. They basically said, okay, well, donate it to the hospital or donate it someplace else. They couldn't get those cookies back to try to rally corporate sponsors to pay for them. So from a council level, we're deciding that we stand a better chance that if this COVID situation becomes worse and it's before our cookie deliveries, we're going to keep the cookies in the warehouse. Does that mean that there's no sale? No, because on a council level, the reason why we talked a lot about the technology and the credit card stuff, you can still do contactless type transactions. If we're in a COVID stage 1, most likely there will not be any booth sales. You know, people aren't going to be out and about like they are. We're going to be back to shelter at home. So there's still opportunities for people to do, you know, whether it's a virtual sale, whether it's, you know, sharing links, but those would be things that people would pay by credit card and have it delivered to them. If The COVID stage becomes worse between January 14th and February 21st. And that tends to be the time frame where in any given year, most people have the bulk of the cookies that they're going to have for the entire sale. For our council, when we look at how the sales go, there's a peak for the first 2 weeks, and then it starts a slow decline as the weeks go by. For that stage, we will look at basically, for lack of a better term, buying back any unsold, 50% of the unsold inventory in hand. The thought behind that is, if something happens early in the season, no one's going to go back to get more cookies, right? You're just going to have what's on hand. For the most part, people sell hard and strong at the very beginning. And like I said, by the time you hit the beginning of February, most troops are kind of done. You see little pickups, but not major ones. So with that 50% of unsold on-hand inventory, what's important for that is troops have to transfer cookies. So one of the things that we stressed in the service unit cookie training is the idea of weekly transfers. Transfer cookies so that on a council level, we see what the liability is and who's in trouble and how we can help and who we need to talk to quickly to help mitigate, the problems that we could potentially see. But it's very important that from the beginning of the sale to the very end of the sale, that everybody is transferring cookies to their girls on a regular basis. Is there any questions about that? Just this slide alone? Like I said, we put it together with the hope of, number one, as we go into the initial order season, so that our troops could feel comfortable. They have some type of safety net. The world could change from now to January, and we know that. And we wanted to put some contingencies in place to help support that. But with the understanding that if the cookies are delivered, which hits that, January 14th date is the real start of the sale, then there's a responsibility also on the troop level to manage your inventory and manage it well. Don't go crazy. This is a different world and we all need to, work through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no questions in the chat.
Okay, next slide.
Okay, so guidelines.
So the guidelines and safety tips. Now this slide, got a lot of reaction from, people at our service unit cookie manager training. Primarily it was the one adult and two girls being present at a cookie booth. Over the years, it's always been two adults. One of the things that we know is very, very different this year is if there's going to be in-person booths, how do we do social distancing? How do we make it safe for not only the girl, but that adult who's there? What we know for sure is that anybody handling Girl Scout money needs to be registered, right? So that is always the case. So whether it's a parent, whether it's a leader, someone else in a troop, if you're handling Girl Scout money, you need to be a registered volunteer. Having the maximum of two girls, what I would say is, and this was a conversation with our CEO, there are many councils who, over the course of years, have allowed a parent and their daughter to be at a cookie booth. What we wanted to do is create something that allowed some type of flexibility in that, maybe as a parent, if you have two daughters, there's quite a few leaders or parents who have two girls in Girl Scouts. I'll say many people in this age, in this time frame or the situation that we're in, might feel comfortable with the family being at a booth versus, you know, a leader and this one girl, or the, you know, the girl outside the family or so. So we're trying to make some contingencies on that. What I can tell you is in the near future, we'll be calling the health departments to really look at, number one, what is going to be our council guidelines on this whole COVID situation. Once we have that intact, I think we will be able to flush out a little more what the cookie booth guidelines on COVID looks like, to ensure that they're in alignment with what our council and our state guidelines are. So there'll be more to come to that, but if you think of one of Rebecca's previous slides when she talked about, okay, what are some alternatives to booths? Well, if we do a drive-through, you know that a drive-through probably couldn't be just one adult and one kid, right? It's going to be multiple people, because more than likely you're going to have, you know, a situation where maybe there's one place where if they don't already have an order, people are putting in the order, people are taking the transaction someplace else to pick up the cookies as they drive through the drive-through. So similar to like a McDonald's line, you place your order one place, you pay another, and you pick it up someplace else. You know, so the booth experience may look very different, which means that a maximum of one adult and two girls probably wouldn't work. So we're going to expound on all of that and give a lot more details, but those details have to come once we are more firm on what our council level COVID guidelines are going to be.
Yeah, and I think, Ange, in the chat, it was, you know, question drive-through booths. Obviously, yes, it'll definitely be some more adults needed for a drive-through booth. And I wanted to say, I believe Claire Ann, I don't know if she's on here, but Triborough has used a parking lot for the past few years and did some booth sales in a parking lot. So we can probably get some recommendations from her, but we will be, you know, obviously allowing.
Claire Ann says she's here.
Claire Ann's here, yeah. So, you know, I know we've helped her with a parking lot. And probably has some great tips from being out in the field doing it. Another person had asked, can like a husband and wife, if it's the same family, be there with their daughter, you know, just for safety purposes? So Angela's saying yes. You know, we are, again, more details on this is going to come out, obviously, as we keep getting clarification on COVID. But, you know, if it's your same family, you don't have to social distance from your same immediate family that you live with. So that's really where we're getting at with the social distancing. Right now, we have to social distance. So you can't really social distance with people at a booth with either a 4 or 6 foot table. You know, the kids, you know, that makes it very difficult. You know, somebody said if it's a parents doing one-on-one, they can do it from their private stock of troop inventory. Yes, and I think that's where a lot of that came from, Angela. From the COVID last season, it was easier for a parent and their daughter to get rid of cookies at a pop-up booth, a lemonade stand, or a booth sale than to expect two non-related adults and kids to be at it. So.
I think someone says something about the written guidelines. I know our council level written guidelines, we're working through that now. So I think we'll have that finalized within, you know, a week or two, and then, you know, the cookie booth things will fall into place once those are, you know, solidified.
How do we handle the lemonade stand kind of booth?
What do you mean?
So I'm thinking that's like kind of like somebody's selling cookies at their home, in their yard, you know, on their sidewalk in front of their house. That would really be out of their, you know, personal stock that they get from the troop leader. For that, I would say at home only, yes. But if it's something where, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would say, and this is where we have to be smart, creative, but flexible. I would say if it's at your home, is that something you necessarily need to track, right? Because it's going to be the girl and her link, or if she wants to take credit cards, it's in front of their house. If it's something that, you know, it's going to be in the parking lot of, I don't know, a church or something like that, then that might be something that you want to have as part of like the whole rotation of cookie booths.
Yeah.
So that, you know, like Rebecca said earlier, do you want a girl, a parent, and a troop on every corner? Probably not.
Mhm.
You know, do you want them in spaces where it's safe? They're spread out a little bit. Maybe they're in, you know, areas where, you know, depending on where you live, there's certain parts of town is spread out a little more. Then there's a way to organize that. So now people aren't stepping over each other. The traffic flow works well. So there's a way to
Yeah.
manage it and think through it that makes it easier to, number one, see where everybody's going. Number two, support different places and give more opportunities for troops to sell off some inventory if they can.
Yeah. So in the chat, yes. So drive-through booths would be service unit coordinated and run, and then you would put them out there for troops to pick up, like Claren has done for her service unit. Sidewalk booths, now that's something, so I'm thinking of a place like Boardingtown. I went to dinner a Thursday night and there was like 10 restaurants all with tents up, and there was a lot of people on the sidewalk. That's something also that the service unit would be coordinating. If it's in a public location, that shouldn't be just a parent like, hey, I'm setting up a sidewalk lemonade stand. So sidewalk booths would be like in a public location, service unit coordinated. A lemonade booth is basically like a girl at home doing a lemonade stand. It's, you know, I know somebody had commented, how do we regulate a lemonade booth? We had this the past year or two with a few girls, and people were kind of upset about it. But unfortunately, we can't tell somebody what to do on their home, on their property. If they want to set up a little table with their mom and sell some of their cookies and throw lemonade out there too, or hot chocolate, there's nothing wrong with that. I can't see saying a service unit coordinator needs to regulate all the girls in your community if they're going to be running you know, a little lemonade stand. Now, if they live on a very public street and they're setting it up on a sidewalk, you know, that might be something different. You might want to say, let's make sure we don't have any other booths going on that sidewalk. But if it's like a suburban area or somewhere where they're just setting it up on their sidewalk in front of their house, on their yard, that's them selling their own personal inventory, not troop inventory. You know, we do ask is that they, you know, you make sure that they are aware of safety guidelines. You know, their daughter shouldn't be like, you know, on the curb, you know, right on the street. Obviously, you know, they should be out there with an adult. It shouldn't just be, you know, a girl sitting out there by herself. But these are things, you know, that as a parent, they should be wanting to make sure their daughter's safe while she's outside selling cookies, collecting money or credit cards. Let's see. So I think that's kind of it. You know, more of the chat questions, we're going to do a Q&A and we'll send those answers out to doing it. But yeah, ultimately we can't stop somebody from selling at their house their own cookies. Okay. And you want to keep going?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this slide was just some basic protocols. I mean, in this environment, it goes without saying that everybody should be wearing a mask at all times. You know, it just is. And in terms of, you know, one of the things we would always say is, you know, the idea of like, oh, you know, have samples at a booth. Nah, none of that. Like no samples, you know, cleanliness, wiping things down. If you're going to do an in-person booth, having sanitizer, like all of those things still apply. So all girls who attend cookie booths must be registered. Again, at best, you're talking about maybe 2 girls at best, if that. Anyone handling money needs to be registered and background checked. Staying within our council jurisdiction. And the reason why we made that decision was primarily because, you know, every council is coming up with what the guidelines of COVID really looks like for them. And we didn't want to put ourselves or the, you know, our volunteers, girls or parents in a situation where another council's guidelines might be very different from ours, you know, and how do we manage that, you know, and if they're in some other areas. So that's that pretty much. We're not going to, I don't know if that's in another slide, but this year we decided that because of COVID, we're not going to be lending out cookie costumes, primarily because if we lend them out, number one, from a council level, we're still working remote from home until right now, like the end of January. And based on what the world looks like at that time, it may be extended. So in loaning things out to, you know, volunteers to use, the thought was, how do we clean it? You know, how do we clean it and do all of those things to ensure that it's ready for the next person? And we felt like we really didn't have an answer for that. So therefore, we thought it would be in everyone's best interest not to even go down that road. Everyone, yes, wearing a mask while, yes, wearing a mask. And, you know, our cookies price hasn't changed. They went up last year, $5 for all varieties except for the gluten-free, which will be $6.
Yeah, just I'm not sure about Eastern PA. I heard because of COVID they might not be, but I don't know. I'm just back last week, so I'm not sure if they've gone up or not. I do know everybody in New Jersey are at $5 for the core cookies. The other 3 councils are Little Brownie and have their s'mores and gluten-free a little bit different, but the core is all of New Jersey is $5.
What did someone say?
About
Looking at the chats.
the concern that if customers are outside and they don't have masks on when they come up, I would maybe have the girls make signs and say, you know, please have your mask when you come up to order, type of thing. I mean, most people are keeping them on even outside or when they're walking up to people.
Yeah.
I've seen them on at drive-throughs. So, you know, even at a drive-through booth, a lemonade booth, you can say, you know, if they come up, please, you know, can you put your mask back on, you know, and have the girls create signs. Like, this is a mask area. No mask, no cookies.
Actually, what about the thing that had like the picture that had the Thin Mint with the mask?
Yes. There's actually GSUSA made some cookie clip art with the cookies with masks over them. So we'll be sharing all of that too. But yeah, totally make some signs, you know, no, like no shoot, no shirt, no shoes, no service, no mask, no service, you know. But I think most people, especially with kids, especially if we're still in this environment during cold and flu season, they should have it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So additional guidelines, basically, you know, the solicitation of money for our outside organizations. The only approved donation is still Cookie Share. One thing that is different this year for Cookie Share, is that in the slides anywhere, Rebecca? It is, okay.
Yeah.
Zip it, sorry. The other piece is, you know, the same thing applies in terms of selling at places that girls can't frequent. You know, just stay away from them. Next. Safety tips. Honestly, I wouldn't even, at one year, I think, everyone, a lot of people, I won't say everyone, was using the, like the money belt. What do you call them? The things that tie around your waist.
Apron.
Yeah.
Apron.
Yeah, it was
Fanny pack.
Yeah, the fanny packs or aprons and
Oh.
like that. That's probably the safest thing, close to you, probably not too many hands touching it, things like that. Yeah, locking your cars, keeping money safe. One thing that a lot of troops and service units asked last year during our wrap up was, can troops, instead of holding on to a lot of funds, can troops make additional ACH deposits? Like, could we take more money quicker so that troops aren't holding on to a lot of cash? And if that is something that troops are interested in, that's something that we could do for sure. Making sure that there's adequate space, the social distancing, the safety, like all of those things are going to be very important. And we'll have more information when our council guidelines actually come out.
Yeah, this is all basic stuff that we've had, and it's going to be in the guidebooks as well. Okay, so Gail's quickly going to go through the disciplinary actions. Not much has changed, but she'll get into that.
All right, just a quick review for everybody who's done this before and anybody who's new, just a quick overview for you. So if a troop parent or a Girl Scout displays repeated behavior that doesn't honor the Girl Scout Cookie Program policies, GSCSNJ will consider whether disciplinary actions are warranted. The consequences could include things like cancellation of booths, participation in future product programs, and or dismissal from volunteer positions. So the tier 1 examples would be selling before January 14th, before the sale starts, any improper social media posting, and obviously those guidelines have changed a little bit this year, but they will be available. Troops and or parents soliciting booth sale locations on their own and not through the cookie booth coordinator. Any complaints from businesses or customers or parents, not following booth sale guidelines, and of course disregarding any new COVID guidelines this year. So the consequences at this level, for both the troop and the parent and the girls, immediate removal from that booth location, not being allowed to host future booth sales at the location where the incident occurred, asking to remove any social media posting that's improper, also warning them that if they're selling too early, they need to stop that, and warning and explaining to them about soliciting, I can't say that word today, booth sale locations. So tier 2 examples are basically everything that we already talked about, but just that they've been warned and they're continuing to do that. And the consequences in this situation would be cancellation of all future cookie booths during the current program, and also their loss of initial order privilege for the next cookie program that's on the troop level. The parent won't be given any physical cookies until the official start of the cookie program for the next year. Tier 3 would be if they have continued documented breach of code of conduct, all the same different consequences or different things they could do. The consequences at this level would be that a troop volunteer or a parent would be dismissed from any volunteer positions and not allowed to participate in future product programs.
Yeah, so basically we started this last year, and it's kind of like a 3 strikes, you're out type of thing. If something happens, and they're talked to about it, and it happens again and again. We can't, sometimes people are asked like, oh, well, let's not let them sell, or let's take away their initial order. And, we can't really do that until we have a precedence. And I believe last year we only had a few incident reports filled out. So I think this has helped. It's in the family guide, or it's in the troop guides. So I think this helped parents and troops kind of understand the severity of things that they're doing that they should stop doing.
So in order to document booth misconduct, you need to complete the GSCSNJ injury and incident report form, which you can see a little bit of over there. And you're going to email it to incidentreport@GSCSNJ and also to Rebecca. And then we'll be able to discuss the consequences imposed and document it for future reference. All right.
Thank you, Gail.
No
So
problem.
Anne's gonna jump on and just talk quickly about a couple new features in Smart Cookies.
I have to remember to unmute myself. Okay, so a couple new features that we have made in Smart Cookies this year, really to support touchless transactions in this area of COVID. So there are now going to be the ability for customers to choose to prepay for their girl delivery orders that they've made through the e-cards. But if there's an issue with the order, the troop leader will, or the troop cookie volunteer will have the ability to refund. So those credit card payments go, when the girl sends an e-card, she chooses which customer she's going to offer girl delivery to. Like, she might offer girl delivery to her next door neighbor, but she doesn't offer girl delivery to Uncle Joe who lives in Wisconsin. And then once the customer opens that, they'll have a choice, and they choose to do a girl delivery order. They then have the choice to pay up front, and the girl gets that order and it's all paid, and then she can just do a porch drop. We've also added to the girl's social media URL the option for girl delivery sales. Now, in the past, the girl URL has only been for direct ship, but we have now added the girl delivery, and it also has the option for credit card payment. In fact, if it's on the social media, the customer has to pay for credit card, to order the girl delivery in that case. With the URL, of course, there is the, once it's out there on social media, it can go anywhere, right? So there is an approval process that the parent will have to approve those orders. So if the girl's URL generates an order for girl delivery, the parent will be able to click a link. They'll get an email for that order. They click a link. It will take them to that order. It will even map it for them so that they will see where that delivery is. And then if they're comfortable going with their daughter and taking their daughter to that location to do a delivery, they approve the order. And at that point, the customer's credit card gets charged. If the parent doesn't want to go to that delivery, or maybe it's they don't have cookies and it's like toward the end of the sale and they don't want to go get more cookies, they can also not approve the order, and the customer's card is not charged at that point. And we've put an option on for the customers that if for any reason the girl can't deliver your order, they can choose to make it a donation order. So if that the parent says, I'm not going to approve this order for delivery, and the customer has checked donation, then the customer gets an email saying, your order's been converted to a donation order. And on every single one of the emails, it also sends another link so that people can continue to order cookies. So a great enhancement, but of course for girl safety, parents are involved, and parents have the option when they register their daughter of either opting in or out of this location. I see somebody ask what kind of donation. It would be a cookie share. They're converted then to cookie share packages. And then of course the girl would get credit for those. So I didn't make that very clear. But if they check donation, then their orders are converted to cookie share packages. And so again, just make sure that, people are aware that they have to make a choice when the girl is registering. The parent will be required to either say, yes, I'm opting into girl delivery URL, or no, I'm not. And they can change their mind during the course of the sale. So as it gets deeper into the sale and they don't want to continue to get those, they can turn it off at that point. We also have created 2 distinct links for troops for the cookie sale. The first one will be what's called a Troop Cookie Link. This will be an automatic credit of a direct ship order to the Troop, and it's going to be through the GSUSA Cookie Finder. So starting on January 19th, the Troop Cookie Link will be activated in the Cookie Finder, and when a customer puts in their zip code, they will have the choice to go to a traditional booth sale if one is available, or they could choose a direct shipped option. And those cookies would then be credited to the Troop. And then at the end of the sale, the Troop can divide up all those sales and allocate them down to the girls as if they were any other booth sales. This link will also, in the Smart Cookie system, the link will be active during your entire sale. So for instance, I have a friend who has a Troop, and I want to help her Troop promote their cookie sales. I'll put her Troop URL on my Facebook page, which will reach different people than her Facebook page might reach. And those will be for direct ship orders only. The customer orders them, pays for them with a credit card, they're shipped direct to that house, and the Troop gets credit. So great way to support the Troop. And then there's the virtual booth sale link that each Troop will have. And this will be, they will go through the Troop secured booth process in Smart Cookies, and all of this is not ready yet. We had a lot of programming to do between June and now, and so it will be ready in November, and we will have tons of videos and instructions on how everything is used. But this would be as if the Troop, for instance, Rebecca said earlier, their church allows them to do, they said you can use our parking lot from 1 to 2 every Sunday for cookie pickups. The Troop can send out their virtual booth link. The customer again orders, pays with credit card. The Troop volunteer can see those orders, can approve them. If they need to go get more cookies from the cookie cupboard to fill those orders, they'll have time to do that. And the customer will know exactly where the booth location is going to be because it'll be in the link. When the link is created, then it will say they're going to be at St. Mary's Church on Sunday, January 14th from 2 to 4. So it'll have all that information. So again, some of that is still in development, but it will be a great way to boost individual sales and Troop sales. We also have a new report, the Smart Booth Divider Report. This will give a snapshot for the Troops of all of their Smart Booth Divider cookies that they've divided up during the sale. It actually was activated toward the end of last year's sale, but a lot of people didn't know about it because we added it later. But it is an expanded version of showing how cookies are divvied up among all the girls in a Troop. And I think the next slide actually shows the report. So you can see it has the name of the booth, and you can get just the total number of cookies, or you can expand it out and see which girls were given credit for which cookies. So it's a great report that our team put together. We also had a couple other features, and I think we've got them on the next slide, but the Smart Cookies, again, allows individual girls to accept all credit cards as payment for cookies. So if they're doing, if during the sale, girls are still allowed to go door to door if you're at that point, and that's going to be acceptable. They'll be able to take credit cards. And again, as Rebecca mentioned, they do need to be through the Safari browser for it to scan. And they can be from smartphones, tablets, or desktops. No reading devices are required. Your council is covering all the fees for credit cards, which is great. But if you choose to use a different fee system or payment system, that will be the Troop's responsibility. And I think that's it for me.
Yes, thank you. So I think Gail's going to jump on. Yeah.
Yep. So we're just going to go over some contests and incentives. So I think Angela mentioned before, Cookie Share, we're making a little bit of a change to it this year. So for 2021, individual girls who sell 12 packages of virtual Cookie Share donations will earn the Cookie Share patch. In the past, it was on a troop level. Now it's at the individual girl level. And the patch will be automatically added to the girls' reward in Smart Cookies, so that'll make it a lot easier. I understand in the past we had to get the information separately. So we are working again with Armed Forces, the Joint Base McGuire, Fort Dix, and Lakehurst, and also the U.S. Coast Guard in Atlantic County. And they love getting all those donations. Last year, we donated 2,444 cases, and this year our goal is 2,800 cases, not packages. I thought I had changed that for you, actually. Virtual cookie booth contest. We'll have some information on that coming soon. We were talking a little bit about it today, and we'll get that out to you as soon as all the details are put together. I'm sorry, my cat is meowing. I hope nobody can hear her. The Buy Five contest, we decided to cancel that this year, partly due to COVID, and also the price increase on the cookies from last year seemed to kind of slow that down. We're open to coming up with a new customer contest. If anybody has any really great suggestions, make sure you send them to us through email. But we're still kind of coming up, thinking and trying to come up with something that would be fun and a little more productive. All right, some online resources. Angela mentioned this before. We won't be renting out the cookie costumes or the cash boxes this year. So the GSCSNJ Cookies Team app, really important that everybody has access to it. Make sure your troops are using it. It's where we can get you all news, important dates, any changes that might be going on. We have documents on there that you can access easily if you need them. The different guides and everything will be on there. And there's a great chat room that gets a lot of use, and it's a good place for you to get advice from each other and share ideas as well. ABC has great online resources. They have a Flickr page with all different clip art and things to make flyers, and some flyers already created. Definitely take a look at that. Make sure you're utilizing that, especially with anything, if we're doing different types of booths this year. There's definitely stuff on there you can use to decorate with. Of course, there's some pictures of some of the things that are available on the Flickr site. There's lots of fun things related to the theme. This is what the page of the ABC online resources look like. You see on the left, it says before the sale, during the sale, after the sale. Go in and click on those, and there's a lot of good information and things that you can utilize in there. ABC support. If you're having problems with smart cookies or with have any questions that they might be able to answer for you, they have their 800 number and also an email. So you can reach out to them, and hopefully they'll be able to help you out if it's something that we can't help with. So GSUSA resources. A lot of these different resources we will have posted for you through our website and our different apps, but there's a lot of good resources and activity sheets and different things that will really help you out in your sale. Sorry.
Okay, awesome. So I realized the shipping thing was taken out. Somebody had asked if shipping prices. So we are doing subsidized shipping again this year, and gift boxes are back. Gift boxes can hold 6 packages. Shipping for 1 through 5 packages of cookies is $12, same as last year. Once you hit 6 packages, it goes to $6. So from 6 to 12 packages, they get half off shipping. The shipping charts will be online. It'll automatically come up when people go to purchase online. We also usually put the shipping chart on the app, but we are doing 50% subsidized shipping again. There were a few questions about can a customer decline their order to be converted? So I think it's only the troop can decline it. So the customer makes the order, they prepay for Girl Delivered. say the girl does not have those cookies and the troop leader says, you know, we can't get the cookies, the sale's almost over, we're not getting a whole case for one box, the troop will decline that order and let them know that, you know, they can't fulfill it. But the customer, once they give the information, the customer can't decline it.
Right, and so just to clarify on that, the customer makes the choice. There's a box at the bottom of their order when they're filling out the order, and it asks them, if this order cannot be fulfilled, are you willing to have it convert to a donation? And so if they say yes, and the troop or parent declines the order and they've already clicked yes, it automatically converts, and they don't have they would have to go back again and say, well, I didn't really mean to check that, and then it'd have to be dealt with as a refund. But that's their choice at the time they place the order. So if they change their mind later, we'll have to come up with a procedure on how that would be handled.
Okay. You know, they said, so they order online, but girls pick it up to deliver. So basically the girl delivered is the same as it's always been, except for the fact that customers can now prepay for them. It used to be like a girl promise. So say, you know, mom sends it out to the neighbor down the street and she orders 3 boxes of Thin Mints. Now she can pay, cashless pay for those 3 boxes with her credit card. The girl gets the order. If you already have the 3 boxes of Thin Mints, because some of the girls have it, she can then just go and drop it off on her porch. So it's basically the same premise of the old girl promise, but if it's girl delivered, the customer is not paying for shipping. It's a local order. They either drop it off or they arrange with their friend or family to pick it up. If it's direct ship, that's where the customer pays shipping. So that's usually, you know, your friends and family who live far away, they're not local to get it. And again, we are offering the subsidized shipping, which will be available online, and that all gets explained on Smart Cookies when they go to order. We had a little question about, you know, if girls can't meet indoors and maintain social distancing, it's suggested that they go door to door. We're at strangers' houses. So it's not that we're suggesting it, we're allowing it if it's the comfort level of the parents. We allowed it for the fall program. It's up to the parents to decide if they want to go, you know, to their local neighbors' houses, yes or no, how far they want to go. Most girls typically stick with their own neighborhood. That's kind of how we ask and promote it to be. But as long as COVID is in the stage it's in, that's okay. If anything were to change with our council guidelines, we would let you know. Most likely if it were to jump back down to a different stage or something along that nature. But it is up to the parents' comfort. We're not asking that they do. They can completely participate online. Reevaluating the Air Force, McGuire-Dix, Lakehurst, because of, you know, they get bombarded with cookies, so it's hard for the troops and the, you know, who live down there, who are in that service unit. That's definitely something we can do. This year we did add the Coast Guard and Cape May, so they got a little bit less cookies. The Coast Guard got some, but as far as I know, the Red Cross is who we partner with. They are super happy when we get it. They were in like the Air Poland troop had it, and a few other places sent us pictures that they were sent overseas, but we can definitely look into that, you know, for next year. If you have any suggestions, any organizations that would be willing to accept thousands of cases of cookies, send them our way. Gail posted the team app address. Let's see. Are there business cards to drop off to neighbors with a link? No business cards, but we are working on a door card handle and like poster templates and things like that, where girls can put their troop numbers in, their URL, and, you know, or if they get that little dotty thing, I forget what it's called, that scanner code. You know, now if you go to a restaurant, you scan it and the menu pops up. So we're working on that type of thing. The QR code. Yes. So we will have, you know, the door hangers. I believe we're also, GSUSA had a sticker template. It tells you what Avery thing to purchase, where it says like troop number, sorry, we missed you, or would you like to reorder? girls could print those and put those on boxes. And same thing with the QR code. So there's definitely going to be lots and lots of resources for our girls on the website, on the app, to help them share it. Maybe even posters that people put on their door at home, their window. We set up booths with businesses and just keep track of that ourselves. So on how to secure booths. So we'll talk a little bit about, but basically, if somebody wants to share a spreadsheet with you, you set up the businesses for your service units and you kind of create like a spreadsheet. Everybody kind of does it differently. I do know we have a couple very seasoned coordinators. If somebody would like to share their spreadsheet with Vicki, if you want to post your email, to help her, how you kind of keep track of the locations and when and where they let you do it. That's kind of something we've just let everybody do it their own way, since people do it differently. But we have very seasoned cookie booth coordinators who I'm sure we can get you some help and some tips on how they've done it and kept track of that. I used to do it. It was just a very basic spreadsheet. QR code. Let's see. I don't know if there's anything else. Yeah, it's, we definitely would, if we're looking to change cookie share, we'd be looking for like one organization, kind of like the food bank, community food bank, that we can have our trucks deliver them to, because again, we're talking about thousands. It's always been around 4,000 plus cases. It's too much logistics to go to, a bunch of first responders or EMS. So we'd be looking for something like the food bank, maybe Yellow Ribbon, a place that can take that amount of cookies. They have the facility, the warehouse for our big trucks from our agents to drop them off. There is a template. We will have the template in the guide on asking businesses to use booths. That'll be out shortly. If I can get it, I can email it out to you soon. Yes, Vicki, you can certainly call, stop by. Usually they do that, and then they have the letter with your contact information to drop off. Thanks for some of these suggestions. We'll definitely convert them over and keep them to look into doing something different for next year. I see a couple: CHOP, Red Cross, Elijah's Promise. I think that's it. Go ahead, Ange.
I was going to say, like in terms of like the call to action.
Yes.
And you may have covered it.
Nope, not yet. Here it is.
No. Okay.
Nope, there you go.
Then go ahead. I didn't know if that was the last slide.
Yes.
Apologies.
Yeah. So this is basically the last slide of what's going on? Okay. Of what would like you to work on now. Usually you start working on this later, but due to COVID, the best thing you can do for your area is if you reach out to your existing businesses. If you're new, hopefully the last person who did it kept a spreadsheet and gave that to you, but reach out to your places from last year and new places and start to find out if they're even going to allow you to do it. That's definitely something you can do now, making the phone call, stopping by, and saying, if it's something where they'll say, oh, we'll reevaluate in January, keep your notes so you know to go back, and then have those alternates in mind when you go. Is it a great parking lot location where they can let you use their parking lot? Would they be willing to hang a poster? And maybe, weekly you can kind of have troops drop off different posters to promote sponsoring a cookie booth. Would they be willing to sponsor one troop? And maybe if you get a bunch of businesses who are willing to sponsor a booth, and it could be something even small, like I'll make $100 donation for one booth. Just these are some of the types of things that you can ask if the answer is no. But you definitely want to start this now. You don't want to wait until January. Let them know that we're going to follow up in January, obviously, as the situation changes. But the best thing to do is really start looking for places with drive-through or alternate booth locations. Again, Clarion has used a parking lot that has been pretty vacant. We've helped her with paying the fee to that. So while we can't guarantee it, but if there's something that you have a great location, they might be saying, hey, I'll let you do it, but it's $50 or $100. Let us know, reach out to us. We can see what we can help your service unit do. But reach out to those big churches. They don't have anything going on a Saturday. See if they'd let you use their parking lot. Let's see, any big, shopping centers where business went out, a mall like Quaker Bridge Mall, Sears is out and Lord & Taylor's is closing. So I'm going to be reaching out to them to see if they'll allow us, because we're probably not going to have the kiosks there this year. Everything with indoor booths is questionable at this point. So we want to look at big golf clubs, big rental halls, anything that might be off a nice main street where you can have the girls hold up some signs, a girl or two and her mom, to direct them in. You set it up as a virtual booth, or we can work with Anne on how we can put it in Smart Cookies to share it. These are great things to do. So other than that, that's basically what you're going to start on now. We'll get you that template letter soon, because we are still working on the guide. So that letter I can email out to you sooner rather than later. We do reach out to Zales because they have a couple locations. So we are going to reach out to them in the next week and see if they're willing to allow us. So Heather, hold off on that. We are going to convert this to a reporting and send it out by early next week. Any questions that you can think of that may have be coming out to you? Again, and if you have them after tonight, please feel free to email us. We're in a very fluid environment right now, and day to day we're looking at all of our options and things that may change or may not change. So if you have questions that pop up, please email them to us, because I'm sure if you have it, somebody else might have it. Anything, Angela, you want to add? I don't see anything else in the chat.
No, I mean, we have the chat, and I think we'll go through that to make sure that everything that people ask, whether it was instructions to using certain things in Smart Cookies, like the lottery system, like make sure that we have things in writing for you. That could help support some of the videos that have already been created. I think the instructions, someone just wrote virtual booth entails. We'll explain that more. One of the things that we know, and just so that you know it too, and I don't think that was mentioned, we really plan on doing a troop level training sometime between like November and December. And the reason we're going to do it is because we know that probably the best chance of people knowing how to navigate this sale is going to be them learning and knowing how to use the technology. Know that on a council level, that's where we're really weak. If we had about 10,000 girls registered to participate in the sale, we had about 700 or so who actually transacted something using a credit card. So in a COVID environment where even merchants are pushing us to use, debit cards or credit cards and not use cash, that means that our parents, our troop leaders need to learn how to use the technology also. And that's where we know we're very weak. So we plan on doing that training. That training should make it easier for you as cookie booth coordinators. Or what I will say is, if we teach them and teach them well, what it will drive is their desire to, hey, I need to be signed up for this cookie booth so I can use my credit card. So we know it's going to create like a demand, and you guys got to be ready for that demand too, which means having your stuff organized, having those cookie booths in the system so that people can use the technology the right way. In terms of the businesses, I think be creative. There's so many opportunities. If you think about all the old places that always had, that always let you set up a booth. Well, now for many of the places that didn't allow you to set up a booth, there's an alternative. Well, would they be willing to have a poster and a troops link or QR code displayed for customers where they could just scan it and they could get a sale on a weekly basis? Like, there's so many different opportunities for merchants that even never allowed you to do cookie booths. So I think look at it as there's a lot of opportunity versus more limitation. As long as there's a parking lot somewhere, girls can still sell. That could become the new cookie booths. If the town that you're in knows that there's going to be Girl Scouts in this parking lot, and that parking lot every Friday, Thursday through Sunday between these times, well, they know where to come to get their cookies. There's going to be girls there on a regular basis. All you have to do is swap out the troops. So the technology is really the important thing. We're going to try to do our part. And the other piece to support that would be really thinking about some of the other merchants in your community that could help support that. If there can't be right in front of the store cookie booths, and finding alternative locations where, if somehow, people want to charge or there's a fee, like, let us know. Because what we would hope is that we're setting up these alternative places before the sale kicks off, not trying to find and scramble after the sale happens. If we have them in place, if you guys are prepared to schedule people for certain locations, if those people are, need some support in some kind of way, we can put those things in place ahead of time. It'll be harder once the sale kicks off.
And that's, something else, like the alternatives too is, if you know of a place that won't give you any type of booth sale, but they have a great social media following, ask if they'll, share a troop URL weekly that you can give them weekly to social media, or that they'll let you post and that they can share your post. Because a lot of these businesses or social media, especially restaurants, has blown up. So like that's an option too. Like, hey, we're going to be doing virtual cookie booths. Can I give you, a weekly QR code that you can share, or a weekly link that you can share out to your, your social media following? Somebody had posted, don't forget health certificates if you need it. Yes, her town, not every town does. Some towns do require them. So if you're new, make sure you look into that if they haven't told you. You can have booths at restaurants that have bars if it's allowed, as long as families' children are allowed to frequent there, like an Applebee's. We just ask that you're not like propped up at the bar with like Miller Lite behind you, and pictures aren't being taken. But yes, we do have girls and troops who have been allowed to go to restaurants that have bars. As long as a kid can frequent there, you can do a booth. Let's see. All the slides are going to be sent. There was a few things. So the virtual booth details are going to come out more on, like, we have the guide on like kind of the logistics of setting it up, but this specific ABC Smart Cookie logistics, that's coming down soon. And they were still finalizing something based off some approval with GSUSA. So there'll definitely be some more details on that. Did you want to pop in, Ann? I saw you pop up.
Well, I just, since we don't have all the screenshots and everything because the programming isn't complete, we wanted to hold those until we could actually provide that information. So we're targeting mid-November for that to be available.
Yeah. So we're, again, kind of like what Angela said, our goal this year is to really support you more with the technology that's available, with detailed screenshots, PowerPoints, instructions that you can share. So, yes, this virtual booth stuff is all very new. So we're going to have lots of info on it as soon as it's available. Community challenge example. And also, can you further explain how a business buyout? So offhand, quickly, the business buyout is something our fund development team is working on. So as soon as they kind of get some resources available, basically some councils or 1 or 2 councils call it like a cookie angel, where an owner of a business went outside to one of the booths that were out there and bought out the rest of their booth, and it was a really nice thing to do. Some councils have taken that even further, and they work with some of their funders and business locations to see if they'd be willing to buy out a booth or support a booth. So we are going to have some more details on that once we put that together, of giving you resources that you can ask your local businesses, or give us the information so our fund development can ask if you don't feel comfortable. No? Okay, Angela's saying no.
So to clarify there, like I gave you guys the example of like some councils, like Girl Scouts of Jersey Shore, they were just starting their direct portion of their sale when their council, when that stay-at-home order went into place. So they had warehouses full of cookies. What they did is went to places like a TD Bank. Can you purchase a pallet of cookies from us to help support troops? Like, so they made purchases on a council, but kind of big business level. What we're talking about that you can do locally is, well, if a vendor says, no, you can't do a cookie booth. If a vendor says, no, I'm not going to put anything up in my window, or, do anything kind of in store or on my social media, would they just say, hey, we're going to have a tough year. Can you support our local troops? We're a service unit of X number of troops. Tell them what the cookie sale offers, the 5 skills. What about becoming a cookie angel? So similar to the Christmas tree angels, when someone picks a troop to support off a tree, that is an option that sometimes local businesses, I may not let you do a booth, but maybe I'll give you a check for $100. Maybe I'll be someone's cookie angel. So that could also be woven into this idea of like a community, what was it on the other slide? A community challenge. So what about having almost like a cookie angel tree, and it could be the police department, the municipal building, the firemen, like pick a troop to support for, the cookie sale. And be a cookie angel. So you might buy out. So that could be something that businesses could do. It could be something that, first responders could do. It could be something that just the overall public could do. Other councils in different places, it might be a dentist. It might be, a grandpa, that just some extra money.
Car dealerships,
Yeah, it could be anything. So I think it's, I think the best way to approach it, because there are multiple options and every community is so different. What do you need for your community? If you don't have a bunch of, stores, if you don't have a bunch of public places, large parking lots, then maybe having this cookie angel thing is a good thing. You could go to the local, the dentist, the real estate office, whoever, like who could you go to? And maybe this cookie angel idea is something that plays better in smaller communities. Maybe the larger communities, it's having the parking lot doing the drive-through cookie booths. Think of what could work better for you. And then, kind of go from there. If you want to brainstorm some things, give us a call after the training. But I think the overall thing is, what are the needs of your troops? What does your community have to offer? And then what's manageable?
Yeah, and some of the comments were, a lot of this stuff sounds like stuff that more adults will be doing than the girls. And everything is like age level related. So I have gotten in touch with many older girls, cadets and older, who have contacted dentists and car dealerships and sold lots and lots of cookies. You know, I think it was a brownie last year who had, when we did our online incentive, a brownie got her neighbor who was a business owner, and would they buy 1,000 boxes? So it's girl level, you know, girls can make the ask. And if they're older, you can work with them to make the ask, especially if it's people they know, you know, to go to, you know, a location. Or if it is adult who is primarily, you know, doing it because of the age, have the girl with you. Have your daughter in her vest or uniform go with you when you make the ask, so that it's kind of giving that image of the Girl Scout, and she can help out or maybe talk about why it's important and what they're trying to do with their money. You know, the
And the
community.
ask is only the first place. There's always a way to incorporate the girl into the experience.
Yep.
It's going to be posters. There's always a way to incorporate. The girls can make posters. The girls can make thank you whatevers. The girls could create the displays. If you get a cookie angel, they can create something to send to, you know, that dentist that is going to be their cookie
The
angel.
thank you cards.
To incorporate the girl experience in any of these. If it's a drive-through cookie booth, a girl and a parent could be at each station. You know, the parents transacting some of the money. If they're older girls, they could do that. They could package boxes. The adult could put it in a car. So there's ways to incorporate the girl in every aspect of these interactions
and they did, and you know, GSUSA does have that thank you sticker template. Like if you have someplace who's buying cookies, put on the the girls can put the thank you sticker template on each box, and that says, you know, if you thank you, if you want to order more, here's our link, type of thing. You know, so there's definitely ways to incorporate the girls, but obviously certain things will be adult, you know, guided or adult led or really older girl led. Once you kind of know, tap into those high school girls.
And that's a thought, having the older girls make the ask, make the phone calls, do the initial ask.
ShopRite doesn't allow Boy Scouts yet. Every ShopRite's different. Me personally in Mercer County, I have not seen many Boy Scouts out and about right now with popcorn. And that's kind of the reason why we have this call to action now is, you know, start asking now, get the feedback now, and let them know, let the businesses know if it's a yes or a no, or if it's like, you know what, let's see how things are in January. This is giving you, you know, some place to start with instead of waiting another month or two to start. Because we just don't know. And that's why we've come out with these virtual resources so that troops can, you know, still sell cookies and still, you know, participate, but virtually or as contactless and as cashless as possible. So I think that's it. You know, we will be going through the chat, making sure we answer all the questions. So we're going to send you this as a PowerPoint. We'll send it with the slides, and we'll also send it as a video recording. You'll also get the a Q&A sent out to you with all the questions that were posed. And then as soon as the guides are ready in the next few weeks, those will get sent out as well. Somebody had said Boy Scouts is online only. Yeah, and that could be it too. You know, friends and family and online. But, you know, that we just don't know. So we want to give you as many resources and alternates as possible. And if you're struggling, reach out and ask us. If you're a brand new cookie coordinator, please email me or Gail. We are happy to have another Zoom call with you and go over questions and do a little bit more training. You know, or we can also, in addition to that, put you in touch with one of our seasoned coordinators who can also kind of help you on like that service unit end. But yeah, don't think that it just ends here. We are absolutely happy to keep helping you and training you and supporting you. So thank you, everybody. We look forward to working with you this year. You know, it's going to be a funky year, but we're going to get through it. Hopefully, and 2021 is going to be much better than 2020. And, you know, email Gail and myself if you have questions, comments, issues, and we look forward to working with you. So that's that. Thank you so much, and
thanks everyone.
Yeah, have a great night.
Good night.
Stop share.
Good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate everybody coming on. It's a lot, we know. So once we go and I end it, it'll save the recording and the chat box.
Yes,
And then Gail, you'll work on that converting too.
I will keep working on it. Yes.
Awesome. It wasn't too bad. I mean, I think we answered a lot, but. just kind of
Yeah, but I still
organized.
make a list of them anyway.
Yeah. Good tips of things that we need to put together more resources for. So
Yeah,
that's
there's
kind of
definitely
good.
some good pointers and questions that will help us.
Yeah, and I know Ann said there's going to be lots of, like, they do lots of new trainings and slideshows, but it'll also be good for us to know, okay, what stuff do we need more of, like a screenshot with like a step-by-step guide? That's been really helpful in the past. So
I think it's just, it's all of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
Do the, almost like do both.
yeah,
You have to do both because everyone's different kind of learners.
yeah.
Yep.
That I know
Absolutely.
Ginger used to do
Video
that.
automatically pick it up while others would not. So having both things in place.
Yeah,
yeah,
Ginger
definitely
used to
helps.
be, Ginger, our old manager, used to be really good with like step one, the wording, and then the screenshot. And I know we used to put that in some of the guides, especially when it went from Snap to Smart Cookies. So definitely things of these topics to start thinking about and putting together. And
Mhm.
once Smart Cookies reopens, like in the sense that it's ready, especially virtual, and we have that stuff, like we can do that. So, hey, Sammy
Yeah.
Pooh.
All right.
Hey, Sammy.
You guys did great.
You miss us yet? Do you want to come
No.
back? Because we
No.
don't have any openings
She said
anymore.
no.
No.
Wait, we don't have any openings anymore. Sorry.
I'm
I
not
mean,
sorry.
you did stop recording, right?
No.